Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It is another day of working on Frank. We are finally getting started on the power steering system, and we are going to start off this morning with the actual power steering pump. I've decided to break this video series up into a couple of different sections, just so my videos don't end up being hours long for each thing. So we're going to do the power steering pump today, do another video with the power steering gear, and another video with steering shaft, and probably a last one with the pitman arm and tie rod ends. Anyway, let's get started. So the goal for today is to get this old power steering pump that isn't working anymore out from under there. I'll try and get you all in a good position here where you can see what's going on. That looks pretty good. First thing that we're going to do is loosen that up so we can get the belt off of it. And all of these bolts are 9/16. And as you can see, they've all been well lubricated with power steering fluid, so they should all come out pretty easy. And we've got, I think, 2 bolts that hold this power steering pump in and keep it from moving. And then these brackets bolt to the pump itself, which we'll have to pull those off after we get the pulley off. Yeah, there we go. Now she's loosened up. Should be able to get this belt to slip off of there. Maybe not. Ooh, that's nasty. There we go. We might end up replacing that belt too. It's kind of gross looking. I think the next thing is going to be to remove this pulley off of there. And for that, we need a puller. I have this little power steering puller I've had for quite a while. It's actually pretty handy. It just slips on like this, and then there's a collar that goes over these 2 pieces to hold the whole thing together. And you put one side of this on your pump, which should be this smaller side, and then your puller piece goes there. This side clips on exactly the same way, and then you've got this little round collar, slides over the whole thing, and keeps your pulley together, or your puller together. And then I might actually need a bigger wrench. Hold that still, I can't remember. Basically, you just come in here and start wrenching on this piece. Ah, yeah, I'm going to need a wrench for that. Let's see if it's the one I brought out. It's not. I'll be right back. Alright, we should be in business now. See if I have enough room to do this with the fan in the way here. I might need to actually get that out. Let's see if we can just remove that thing. If we can just remove this pump completely, it'll be easier. Interesting. What is... Okay, so that bracket definitely does not want to come out of there. Well, that bolt came out. Aha! There we go. I may have just made this more difficult for myself. Alright, let's take that puller off. Okay, maybe taking the pump off here was not a good idea. The pump loose wasn't a good idea. I don't know. Alright, get those out of the way. There we go. That's gonna work. Kind of. We'll make it work. I don't care too much about those hoses, so get them all twisted up and whatever. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. Alright. Let's pause for a minute. I'm gonna get repositioned. So, we're not playing around now. Get my puller on here. Slip the collar over. Where's my... Here's my 13/16. Just drop that on like that. And we're gonna give it the rattle gun. That really doesn't want to come off. There we go. Piece of cake. Alright, well I guess the next step is probably get these hoses free. Suppose we'll start with that high pressure hose. It kind of looks like an 11/16, and it is. No, actually, that might not be. I think it's just really nasty. Yep, look at that. Boy, that is gross. Oh, and it's trying to pull that out. Wow. This thing is so nasty. I wonder if I can... Whoop! Almost lost the pump. I don't know if you guys are... Let's just try taking this high pressure line off of here. Maybe I can get onto that. Since we're replacing the lines and the steering gear, it doesn't matter where it comes off as long as one end is loose. Wow, this is tight. You can tell it's probably original. Boy. All right. There we go. All right. I think it's time to get rid of the box end wrench. And just use a regular 11/16. Yeah, much easier. This thing is going to fight the entire way out. Oh, and I just noticed I have a little clamp right there holding the lines down. Yep, there's a bolt through there. Okay. Oh, I am loose. Well. Alright, I'll have to get some tools to pull that little bolt out. I am back. We've got ourselves a 1/2 inch inch and the ratchet with a 1/2 inch on it. Get this pulled out of there. Maybe. I'll get the ratchet on. Ah, nuts already off in there. I'm running out of places to sit things. Yeah, so that's free. I'll grab the pump before it goes for a ride down there. See if I can get this hose twisted around. This pump is full of fluid, by the way. Alright, she's draining now. Oh. Man, whoever put this together. Oh! Alright, good. I'm still hitting my pan. Made it so it's nearly impossible to get to this low pressure line. Of course, it's so covered in grease and nastiness. Nice. So we're going to just prop this with the lid loose and let it drain for a few minutes and come back when it's done. The pump's pretty much done draining fluid now. At least it's not dripping anymore, so I'm going to assume it's mostly done. Let's see if we can get this low pressure hose off of here. Wow, that thing is crusty. Ah, there, it broke free. I need to move that a little bit more. It's kind of an interesting hose clamp. Let's see if we can get this directed so it goes straight down at the bucket. Or all over the tie rod. You know, either one. Great option. Yeah. Yeah, that's propped good enough. Alright, our pump is loose. Oh, there's a whole bunch more fluid coming out of it. let's just try and keep this propped here for a bit. Ah, there we go. All right. Now that's propped. Maybe we can use my electric wrench here to get the rest of this bracketry off. Part of me was hoping those would go all the way through. I guess I should have known they didn't go all the way through. I looked at the new pump, and they clearly don't go through on the new pump. All right, that one's free. This one, of course, has a stud right there, blocked by this hose that didn't want to come out. Can I get that in there? Oh yeah. Piece of cake. Oh, nice. Okay. Look at that. It's open. I don't have to try and figure out how to make it work. Get these washers off of there. We'll be reusing those. As dirty as they are. All right. Okay, I'm going to take this old pump out, figure out if there's anything on here I need to reuse. I think I might need to reuse this little nut adapter piece. If I do, I'll have to get that off. And then I'll bring the new pump around and we'll put the brackets on the new pump and get it back in. Okay, y'all. This is first for me. I have received the wrong part from Rock Auto. Usually it's what happens when you go to the parts store. So these look like basically the same pump, except they're a completely different orientation. If you look at the pump in the reservoir body, which isn't, I don't think that's a big deal. I suppose it would be, but biggest problem is this bracket goes right there and it looks like it would fit just fine. But this other bracket, let's see, it's going to take two hands here. Okay, so this other bracket bolts on the front, and then it should have a stud here on the back at the very bottom. But on this one, the stud is on the wrong side. So that's not going to work at all. And my thought was maybe the stud's not really needed. So I thought maybe I can align this bracket up and somehow get it on there. But even if I try to align it, the top bolt hole doesn't line up because the bracket's hitting the reservoir body. So I need to figure out what I can do. I know these reservoir bodies come off. So maybe if I rotate the pump in the reservoir body, that's my only thought. Anyway, I'm going to take a minute, see what I figure out here, and this project might be waiting for the right part. Okay, let me catch you up to speed. It's been probably about an hour, a little over an hour. So the new pump and had the wrong reservoir on it, basically is what it is. I went back through my order form and through the Rock Auto website and figured out that that is the correct pump, but it just doesn't have the correct reservoir. The only one they had that was similar was a hydro boost system, and I definitely don't have a hydro boost system. So I did a little bit of research on Google, and I figured out how to remove these pumps. You pretty much have to just hit it from the backside. Basically, I took out the studs, put in a bolt, and then used a punch and pushed them out. So what we have is this guy right here is our brand new pump. The brand new pump only had this, or a stud in this hole. This hole was completely blocked. So it only had one O-ring, which meant I had to go to the parts store, buy some O-rings to find one that would fit it. And then these parts came out of here. The old pump, laying here on the ground where it belongs, the old reservoir is here. And you can see I still have some work to do to clean this nasty thing up. So that's where we're at. I'm going to work on cleaning this, see if I can't get a little bit more of this crud off of there, and then bring you guys back when we're ready to install this thing. Pretty much just going to be using like a wire wheel and brake parts cleaner. See if I can't get this polished up enough to actually make it look respectable going back in the truck. Okay, got my wire brush on my drill. If you never use one of these, you definitely want some eye protection, something for your hands. Let's see how this works out. Guys, it's getting hot out here. Hot enough that my camera keeps shutting off every time I bring it outside to work for a little while, but I want to kind of show you what I'm doing here. I'm just throwing down some paint on the brackets and on the old reservoir now that it's cleaned up. I don't want to touch it. I just put paint down. The other side's looking pretty good. I only had gloss. Dadgum, that thing's hot. Only had gloss black and satin gray. So I went with the black for the reservoir, gray with the bracketry. Got my painted up, completely rebuilt reservoir. I did get a little bit of overspray on the inside of this mating surface, so I have some emery cloth here. I'm just going to wrap it around my finger and go around here real quick. Just knock that paint down. This has been sitting out in the sun, so it's about 5,000 degrees Kelvin right now. It's kind of hard to hang on to, but hopefully that helps when I go to put the pump in there. Let me go hit this with a little air real quick, make sure there's no debris on it. Okay, so the plan here is to hold the pump in one hand, set this on with the other, and then use some bolts through these two holes and hopefully get this all sucked up correctly. And the nice thing is there's bolt holes. Oh, there's a big old magnet on this thing too. I'm hoping this just kind of sits in there. Honestly, that's pretty close. I think I can suck this up pretty easy with these bolts. These are actually the bolts that came out of the front. I wonder if I have a couple of washers that would work well for those. Got a couple of washers out of the parts bin. Hopefully these will fit. That looks pretty good. That's threading in there real nice. I just don't want to scuff up my brand new paint, you know? Not yet, anyway. Wait until it gets coated in oil because I left a leak somewhere first. All right. Feels like it's working perfectly. Well, what do you know? Also, while I was in town picking up O-rings, I went ahead and grabbed a new cap, because for the couple of bucks of that cost, I don't have to worry about trying to clean it up. Beautiful. All right, so I need a stud here, and I need this little funky bolt here. Oh, I scuffed my paint. Oh well, what's a guy gonna do? He's not gonna care about it. That's what he's gonna do. Screw that down in. These bolts were some of the bracket bolts from the front, in case you're wondering. Oops, that doesn't go in there. Here's our new stud. Nice, fits perfect. I believe, nope, was not 5/8. I believe it was this guy right here. Yes. I am not going to use the rattle gun though to put it in. Beautiful. Okay. For this, we had this little spring and this plunger came out of there. Make sure I don't have anything on them. Drop those down in, and then this piece was on top of that. Okay, that's not gonna work. Well, hopefully that's not cross-threaded because I can't tell. Let's see, that was a 1-inch. Again, I'm not going to use the impact on that guy. I think I'm going to... Okay, that wasn't cross-threaded. There's no way. That was in there too nice. Well, it doesn't want to go in now. Bugger it up. I don't think so. There we go. Okay. Got too much grease on my hands. I don't know what the torque spec was on that, but I know it was pretty flush and pretty tight. I don't want to go any tighter than that. Hopefully it doesn't leak. There's O-rings in there, so should be good. Hopefully we didn't crush anything. All right. Look at that. Pump is clocked the correct direction. Man, and I got fingerprints all over my beautiful new paint. Shame. So this bracket's cooled down enough I can kind of handle it. This one went on right here. Grabbed all my hardware out of my tray. I do have one bolt that's a lot longer than the others. And then I have that one I was just messing with. That one's bigger too. What's that one? That one's shorter. That was really small. I bet that's my other one. I don't know which one was longer. Well, I'll start with these shorter ones. Probably figured out along the way. There was one that had a spacer on it. That's probably the one that was longer. Get these guys started, and they all had lock washers on them. feel kind of bad putting these nasty bolts into this nice, clean looking new power steering pump, but oh well. That feels like a good torque spec. Okay, where is that spacer? That doesn't look right. Had to be that thick washer. I had changed the stud out. I was trying to find the hardware that went on it, and the nut just isn't threading on this new stud. I don't know if it's metric or it's just because it's painted or what, but it wasn't working. So I swapped it out real quick, went with the old stud, and I think we're in business now. I also found this spacer that I left on the hood, or on the radiator support. I knew it was around. I knew it belonged somewhere. All right, let's hook that on. I'm not going to act like that nut isn't full of junk, but it was not working at all. Okay, this spacer goes underneath the upper bolt on the front. Fits right in there like that. And then this swings over. At least I'm pretty sure that's where that spacer went. Maybe not. It ain't fitting. What am I doing wrong? Okay. Maybe I'm just not holding my mouth right. Loosen that up. That just doesn't want to fit. Maybe it doesn't go there. Where the heck was that spacer then? Weird. Alright, well, we'll figure that out later. Spacer apparently doesn't go there. See if I can get this lined up. There we go. Get this one lined up. Who's on top? Well, those all look good. Okie dokie. That looks pretty good. We just need to press our pulley on and put on our high pressure line, because we're going to do that out here. So this is exactly opposite of how we pulled it off of there, except you need a bolt that will thread down inside like that, and you're going to need a couple of different washers. I think this will work. Should be about right. So we're going to put this on. grab a few more washers here. Now we're cooking. So I'm going to use these large fender washers. Got a slightly smaller thick washer, and then I've got a nut that's a much larger size bolt, and these will all drop right down in there. Too much. Let's take that nut off for now. You want to have enough threads that you don't strip them out, but at the same time you don't want to have so many threads that you bottom your bolt out. Kind of a happy medium you have to try and find there. And what I like to do is go down, push it on a little ways, back your bolt back out, put a little bit more spacers in there, that way you're not close to bottoming out. A lot of people do this with your power tools. I don't see a problem with that necessarily. Sometimes you have to. This is going on pretty well, probably because the pulley was outside and pretty close to the same temperature as the surface of the sun before I started. Okay, we got a ways to go yet. I feel like I'm almost bottoming out there. Yeah. I was kind of afraid of that. So here's the problem with using power tools. You can't tell how tight you're getting it. And if you strip that out, you're never going to get this pulley on. I think we might be there. Hey, we're there. Looking for is the end of the shaft to be flush with the pulley. All right, only one thing left to do before we go stick this back in the truck. Stay. All right. I absolutely hate these things, which is honestly why I'm putting it on here, because I feel like it's going to be much easier than trying to do this while it's under the truck. That's in pretty tight. It's trying to turn the 1-inch collar that's in there. And there's not an easy way to get onto that with any of the tools I have. Because this crescent wrench is about the only thing I have big enough to go up and fit on there, and there's just no good way to grab a hold of that. Yeah. I think we're going to call that good and pray for no leaks. All right. Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay. I don't have much battery left, so hopefully we can make this fairly quick. Let's see here. Oh, I sure hope that still fits. Oh, good. It does. I think that's where my spacer went. This mysterious spacer. There we go. Okay. So one thing I noticed that I'm not going to do is put the belt on. The reason for that is the belt has a whole bunch of chunks taken out of it. It really needs to be replaced. So I'm just not even going to bother. All right, get that in there to hold it up. And then well, that didn't work good. Okay. There we go. Now it's better. All right, so I'm going to snug this down just a little bit. Just kind of hold it in place better. Snug this one down. Again, we ain't going very tight with these because I need a belt. Oh. Interesting. Okay, I don't know if y'all can see it, but this is not lined up with the pulley off the crank. close. Well, I take that back. It is close. Definitely not where it needs to be, though. Really looks like that spacer needs to be behind this. That looks better. It's still out a little bit, but I think it's close enough to be okay. Okay, it seems like our lines might be pressure line might be in the way there. I know I said I wasn't going to put this belt on because it's got holes in it, but I'm going to put the belt on just to see if how it's looking. Okay. It's not perfect, but I think it's close enough it won't walk the belt off. And it looks like I do have space behind that high pressure line in the cross member. That'll be fine, because this will be out of the way. This one, obviously that one won't be there. Yeah, I think that'll work. All right, clean that little bracket off. I'm gonna call it pretty good. Got it done just in time. Battery in this camera is almost dead, and it is really hot out here. So we're gonna call it a day. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see the rest of this content, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and if you liked it, drop a like on the little thumbs up down below. Thanks for watching again. Have a good day.